So the first thing is, it is 9:30 right now, and I am only just leaving home on the first day of class, which is nice. It's always a good idea to reflect on that. One of the advantages of being a college professor is you do not have the normal 8 to 5 grind or 9 to 5 grind. Usually my wife is up and out by 7:30 in the morning, and I'm still in bed, and I get up an hour or so later. But she is not working today, so she's at home working on chores and things like that. So she's enjoying her day off, and I'm the one who's got to get up and go to work. But I got to do plenty of things in the house this morning before having to drive off to work. Even though it has been 8 or 9 years in the classroom, I'm still a little bit nervous. So I've done quite a bit of preparation for the semester. Over the last month or so, I looked at all of the courses I'll be teaching, thought about what's worked in the past, what I want to keep working on, what I want to improve, what I want to change, and what I ordinarily do. And this is by no means a measure of what you can expect in the classroom, but what I normally do is completely rewrite each of my courses all the way down to the textbook if I'm using one. This semester, I'm not using any textbooks as the primary focus. They're all supplemented with textbooks, which means I put them on the syllabus as recommended or as suggested resources. But I think for each of my courses, I've either picked out specific readings that I'll provide through the library, or I haven't built those lists yet, so we'll be working on those in class. I'll let the students participate in that process, but I've reevaluated most of my learning objectives and how to meet them, and so I always enter the semester really excited about how they'll go and how it'll work out, to see kind of what will happen, see what group of students I have, what they're willing to do, how much work they're willing to put forth, what they bring to the table, where their interests are. And so that's one of the exciting things about the first week. I get to see who I'll be working with this semester. It is the first time back in the classroom since this time last year when COVID was really getting bad. We started off kind of in the classroom, and then that got changed, and so the Delta variant may cause the same thing to happen. So we're starting off in the classroom. We'll see how many weeks it takes before it becomes a problem and we're moved back online. I'm excited to be back in the classroom though. I'm not excited to be exposed to 35 students in a cramped corridor, in a cramped space, but I'm excited to actually see and interact with students in real time. That's something that I really struggled with online. I think part of that is my own expectations of how students treat an online course, and it's difficult to, stay in bed when you're coming to class. There has to be a little bit more buy-in. But I've heard pretty good stories of faculty who have had a good time online. But anyway, that's what's going through my mind right now. I'm planning on getting to the classroom maybe 10 minutes early just to make sure all of the technology is working out. I do have one student who will be at home. It's a recent mother who is tending to her newborn, and she wanted to come to class and bring her child because she couldn't find daycare, and I said, well, it's illegal because your child is not registered and we don't have insurance to cover her should something happen, and there will be 30 students all surrounded, few of whom have had their vaccine, could be highly contagious if they have COVID. I suggested that it would probably not be safe for the child, and she opted to stay home, and I'm letting her attend wirelessly, or I guess non-locally. So it's nice to have that kind of flexibility. I hope it doesn't open up the door to a bunch of students who don't want to go through the hassle of walking from their dorm room into the classroom. I hope that won't be the case. How are we doing? We still need a few more minutes? You're done? You're done? How about the back? Alright, so we're doing pretty good. Then let's, oh, and by the way, I forgot a cord to connect my computer to this computer. It would have been super easy, so instead I've had to do everything twice. So I've created a bunch of empty boxes here. I'm going to fill this in with stuff that you already know about research. We'll do this again with career interests further on down once we've scrutinized some of these and looked at a couple of examples. Surprise, my beard is gone. Evidently, I started that video at least a year ago, possibly only 10 months ago. It wasn't this semester for sure, but I guess I decided that I didn't like it and let it go. So I had done all this editing on it and just found it on my computer. But what's missing from the video, which I decided to share, is my reflection on what it's like to be a college professor on the very first day of the semester. So what I hope I communicated in the video is that I was nervous. I'm always nervous going into the first class of a semester. Part of that nervousness is uncertainty about what to expect. And the other part of that nervousness is excitement about what might happen. So each class has its own personality. It's almost its own organism, and I'm not sure what's going to drive the class, what sort of personalities within the class will be the strongest ones, whether there will be a lot of personal sharing or whether it will be an intellectually challenging course. I really try to let my students guide a lot of that. So I go into it with anticipation because I put a lot of work into resources and activities that students might want to do, and then I don't know what's going to happen, and so each semester it's very different. There are certain things that I think contribute to a positive semester, and those happen to be personal. They're personal missions of my own, things that I hold or that I value, I hold in high esteem. Those include me being a real person, being myself, and so being free to share if I like something or don't like something, or if I'm excited or if I'm bored. So being free to share that and be who I am in the classroom. That's called congruence. Another thing is positive regard of my students. So in other words, I don't treat them as zeros at the beginning of the semester. They come in as fully capable, unique, and important in their own right people. They don't need to convince me of that. And so in other words, I'm trying to get to know that side of them or their potential, and I trust that it's already there. So they don't have to prove their potential, I trust that it's there. So it's positive regard. I hold them in regard without them having to prove that to me. That way the defensiveness can go and they're free to fulfill their potential. And the last is empathy. When I interact with students, I try not to interact only intellectually. I'm also trying to engage them emotionally. So if they're frustrated by something, it's not just the frustration of not knowing or having trouble. It is an aspect of who they are or a goal that they perceive as important to them that they're having trouble with. So it's like this experience of failure. So it's not just work hard at it, get better, get over it. It's I see that you're struggling. I see that you're frustrated. That's okay. Do you want to focus on it? Do you want to work with that? Do you want to explore avenues to resolve your problem? So I'm trying to recognize more than their academic identity. I'm trying to see all of them. So if I can do those three things, I can be myself. I can hold them in high regard, and I can listen empathically to them. I trust it'll be a good semester, and that's generally been my experience.